these just work. Alrighty. Hello, everyone. Hope you're having a great day. Thank you for spending the next half hour or so with myself to review, and the CNP team as well, who's on the call, to review what we've been working on over at Punch Technologies. So today, really talk about the two most relevant things, the things we've been really focused on of late. One is SENTRY, which is how do we help you as an organization reopen safely or stay open while continuing to screen and keep track of who's entering your buildings, and hopefully you're able to do that in a really safe and orderly way where you can actually collect the data about the folks that are coming in, whether that's your employees or your customers or visitors. So this is something we've really been successful with over the last 6 months. Thankfully, middle of last year, we saw this was a really big problem. And we've been very fortunate. We started with one of our customers rolling out SENTRY within the PunchAlert app. But today I'm going to show you how it's morphed into a standalone product. So if you have PunchAlert, great. You can use this within that by activating the module and purchasing that, or you can just buy SENTRY standalone. And it's a great, really, really simple product to roll out. And we've worked with from large corporations to small restaurants, YMCAs, of course, but schools, really all types of organizations that just want a way to screen employees at home or when they arrive in collecting the data. So I'm going to walk you through SENTRY today and how to reopen safely. And then the second part of this is what maybe you might see in the background a little bit, which is Rescue, which is a product we've been working on for 3 years now. That's all. Took about twice as long as we thought. So apologies for those of you that are on the call that are waiting for your order to ship, but they are on their way. We are shipping to our first customers by the end of this month. And then the rest of our first batch orders for Rescue are coming in February, or maybe a little bit in March, but that's we'll be getting them all out over the next, definitely over the next 90 days, hopefully the next 60 days. So Rescue, for those of you that know, or that don't know, is a water activated panic button system. So you can really think of it as two things. If you need a reliable wearable panic button, that's what this is. And it's not something that relies on cellular or Wi-Fi. This is a standalone radio network that's being developed. So there's a base station, there's a charging, there's the buttons, and then there's the charger. Notice it's turning yellow and blinking red because this is in our test mode. And in test mode, we activate, so we're showing that the movement, there's an accelerometer in this device. So anytime it thinks there's any small probability of a fall happening, that's just for, again, for our testing purposes, we're activating not an alert, but the yellow movement sensor. So anyway, I'll get more into rescue in a moment. Please, as you have questions, write them down or jot them in, and I'll address them as we go. But let me get started with Sentry and how to reopen safely. Today, by the way, I'm not using any decks today. I'm just going straight into the product. So let's dive right into the demo of the products. So let's talk about reopening safely first. All right, so I am screen sharing already, I think. So hopefully you can see my screen. Let me just make sure that though. Hold on. Stop share your screen. Okay, perfect. So this is the Sentry Pass Admin Console. And this is where an administrator for your organization, should you decide to move forward with Sentry, can start setting up the basic, this is a really easy setup and you can actually do it without any training at all. The first thing you do is set up your questions. What are the questions you want to ask either employees or visitors before they arrive on campus each day? And so here you can create questions and you can see the ones I have listed here. When you create a question, you want to give it a value. Now, the value may or may not be used. So for example, you could have a very black and white type of result where you either pass or fail. If you pass, you're no risk, basically low risk, and you've got your pass, your green pass, or you fail and you don't get any pass at all. But you may want to distribute different types of passes. So we have customers that are using this to issue yellow passes and purple passes, and each of these things means something different. And how that gets created is based on the weighted value you ascribe to each question. So a quick example would be, you want to ask a question of, did you take your temp at home and was it below 99? You could give this a 2, and the answer should be yes. And if you do yes, then you don't, what would happen is for that question, you would get a score of 0. 0 is good. The lower the better. That allows you to pass. You get it wrong, and that you're going to actually accumulate 2 points. And now what does the 2 points mean? Well, that's really up to you. When you go to the settings, question scoring, and again, this is optional, actually, this feature, so you don't even need to use this. But if you want to have yellow passes and different color passes, you could say, okay, 2 would mean a medium risk person. They can still get a pass, but it's going to be a yellow. They're going to be labeled as yellow, which means high, medium risk. So when you're doing reporting, it'll be easy to see who are the low risk or the medium risk, who's taken their temperature, who hasn't, or however you set this up. And then the pass itself could actually take on the risk color rating. That's an optional setting under optional settings where you would select pass color override. So there's a lot of really advanced functionality now we've built in for a lot of our customers. I'm not going to go over all of it today, but I just want you to be aware we can make it fit your organization. For example, the pass itself, we talked about the color, but it could also have an ABC attribute or a 1, 2, 3 attribute. So if you have shift workers and you want to make sure that when people arrive, they're of the, they've got the right attribute there. They're in the right group, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. Or do you want their profile photo in the pass, or do you want their survey verification photo, which by the way is also optional. So as we go through the questions and I put my phone on the screen and you watch, you'll see that some of our customers like to have their people submit a selfie. Why do that? Well, if you're asking people to take their temperature at home, then you can simply ask them to take a picture of their thermometer or themselves with their thermometer, just as a little bit of evidence that the numbers they've entered are validated by something. Even if you don't actually look at the photos, which, because we're seeing thousands being submitted every day, I assume they're not really being looked at by anyone. But the fact that it's there, it's evidence. You can always go back and check if someone did get sick later on. This data, we're constantly collecting data for the prior 10 days. and making that available to you. Not after that, because I don't think you really need it beyond 10 days. But it's available to you. And if someone needs to come in and if someone does get sick and something happens, you have an incident, you've got that data. So it really protects you. That's a great thing to do legally. It's actually required in some states. But regardless of that, it's just a good thing to do to protect your facility and all the people in it. Okay. So we talked about questions. Now, as for your users, you can manually upload your users. But one of the things we found as a really successful way to onboard is through something called a join code. And so when I put my phone up on the screen, you'll see where you can enter a join code. But basically, you can create a join code or any number of them for your organization. And as long as it's unique, then you can have it, and then anyone can enter it. So when you tell people to sign up, and we have a nice one-pager you can put up on your windows, on your doors, on your entrances for visitors, or even send it out to employees. It says, look, you download SentryPass or you go to sentrypass.io, you enter this unique join code, and that gets you into our org. And maybe even beyond that, beyond getting it into your organization, your company within Sentry, maybe you also want to give it an A attribute or a 2 attribute, or you wanted to add them to a specific list for reporting purposes or for announcement purposes later on. Again, don't want to get too deep, but the join codes is a great way to onboard. And then you don't have to worry about bulk uploading. You just make it an opt-in by either downloading the app, or there's a QR code you could scan. It goes right to our website. You can create your account right there, enter the join code. So really easy. Again, if there are any questions, feel free to write them in. But let's take a look. All right, and then there's reports. Let me go to, yeah, so again, when you're setting up, you do your questions, you import users, usually through join codes, you create question scoring if you need to, and then you kind of go through some of these more advanced settings. One of the things I think you'll find really useful, and we just launched this within the last week for customers, but it's already getting used a ton, is reminders. So if you want to remind everyone through email, SMS, or push notification to fill out the survey every day by 9 a.m., this is a great way to do it. And you could even, if you don't check this box, it's only going to remind people that haven't yet filled out the survey. Or you can check the box and then it goes out to everyone. So reminders are a really nice way to reach out to people every day and make sure they're doing this. One other pass setting I did want to focus on, obviously the passes expire every night at a certain time. One other thing you may want to be aware of, it's under optional settings, is the check-in and check-out. So you could scan these passes. If you want to really validate that someone has an accurate pass, then you could scan them on the way in, and that actually checks people in, and then you can even scan them again to check out. It also validates that it's an actual pass, that they didn't take a photo of yesterday's pass, for example. So yeah, those are some of the key elements. But then you're good to go. Everyone will start answering the surveys every day, and I'll go to just current passes, reports, current passes, and you can see for me today that we've got Andrew and Matthew have already have their pass issued. Nobody else has. I can search for someone. If I want to search for Andrew, I can see he's got a pass issued. I can click on the cog. I can see he's low risk, and I can see the his actual pass and the answers he submitted to the questions. If I go to settings, I think, yeah, we don't have the photo activated, so that's why there was no photo submitted. We do have comments enabled. So reports, current passes. Now I can also go to daily reports, and if I want to go back and look at a prior day, like let's say I go back a couple days, I can filter it by all users, by list, by user level. User level is an interesting one. If if you have PunchAlert, you can filter it by your responders. You can filter it by your employees or whatever user list you've set up. All right. So that's reporting. Again, I'm going through a lot here, but if you do want to try this product, it's really intuitive. It's super simple to roll out, and we'll walk you through it. So just let us know, and we're happy to give you a test run of it. So yeah, let's move on to the mobile app so you can see that for a moment. All right. So hopefully you can see my screen. Let's go into the SENTRY app. So the SENTRY app is really simple. And it's also within PunchAlert. But for those of you that are just buying SENTRY, this is the app you're going to want to use. It's called SENTRY Pass on the iOS or Android app stores, Google Play stores. And so all you're going to do, I'm already, if I click select an organization, you'll notice I'm already in our organization and some others, customers and test ones. But if I wasn't, I would go to join an organization and enter the join code. This is it. Remember that join code we talked about? That's where you enter it. And that would bring me into the organization I'm in. Okay, and notice I got SENTRY push notifications earlier. All right, I won't pull that up, but it brought me the push notifications take you right to the survey. So it's a really nice feature. At 9 a.m. this morning, I got a push. I didn't answer the survey yet. Let's do that now. So I go to Punch Technologies. Again, the push notification takes you right here. Do I pledge to tell the truth? Yes. So all these have an answer they're expecting. And if I answer wrong, I'm getting points, which may issue me a different kind of pass, or I may get rejected from a pass overall. Comments, I could enter a temp or whatever comments I need to enter. I submit the survey and it says congratulations, and boom, there's my pass. All right. Now, why does it have an A in it? Again, we have those optional attributes. So the attribute for A, B, C, like what shift I am is being presented. But this could be your organization's logo. This could be your profile photo. This could be the photo that you actually submit. So you have some options here with what that is, but you can see it's valid, the date, the name, the organization. And if I hit back, notice now there are 3 sections. There's select an organization, there's join an organization, but I also have an active pass. So now that's showing up. My active pass, Punch Technologies, there it is. Again, these passes can be scanned, and that can be done from any QR reader. So as an example, here I'm going to go to my QR reader app. And now I'm going to take my browser and refresh this page. And now you can see there's I have a pass issued. And if I scroll down, I should be able to scan the pass. Oh, I scanned the pass and it is valid. So that actually just checked me in as well. I'm gonna close that, go back to SENTRY. So yeah, that is essentially the SENTRY experience. Again, the questions are yours. Whether you want the photo is optional, whether you want the comments is optional, whether you want different colored passes, and then all the data is available to administrators in SentryPass.io. Really simple product. You can roll it out within a day, again, through email blasts about the join codes to different lists if you want to, one-pagers that we can provide, where you enter your join codes, print them out in different places. You can use it for employees, you can use it for visitors. We've priced it pretty affordably. So we're seeing success within all different markets, and obviously the next year ahead is still, going to be challenging as we get these vaccines distributed, and hopefully we can all open up the way we want to. But if this can help, we want to give you the tool that can help. All right, so that's SENTRY. If anyone has any questions on SENTRY, I'd be happy to answer them now before I dive into Rescue. So I'll just wait a moment to see if any questions come in. I do see a hand up. I'm not sure if that was intentional or not, but for whoever's raising their hand, if you want to type in a question, that might be easier so I can address it. All right. Okay. If there's nothing else on SENTRY, I'm going to move on to Rescue. All right. Share my screen again. Back to the browser. All right. So we have a Rescue portal. So just like SENTRY had its own standalone dashboard at SentryPass.io, Rescue also has its own portal at RescueAlerts.io. Now, again, this is all the same backend as PunchAlert. So if you already have a PunchAlert admin account and you end up with Rescue or SENTRY, you can use the same credentials to log in to those portals. And by the way, they should all look and and they should all feel very similar to you because it's the same underlying structure. If you look at the PunchAlert dashboard, you got your 4 boxes. The SENTRY portal, you got your 4 boxes. Rescue portal, guess what? Same thing. So hopefully this is really intuitive. When you get your rescue system, it comes with one base station, as you can see there, which just fits. It's a really simple thing to, maybe I can show you. Start with that a little bit. So if you're looking at the camera, it's a really easy thing. So this is actually at the station. It's very thin, a little more than an inch in thickness. But it also comes with an anchor. So the anchor you position to the wall, you are going to need to wire an Ethernet cable through the back. So that is, and it does need to be PoE, so power over Ethernet. That's really the extent of the work that your local, that your own IT folks, your own facility folks will need to do to set up SENTRY. You're going to want to, set up Rescue. You're going to want to put it in the pool area, obviously, near the pool. That's the primary use case for this. You can use these buttons in other places. And we are, let me grab this. When we ship these out, there are 3 different ways you can wear these buttons. You can just clip. Notice it has a nice little clip, so you can clip them on things. You can clip it on my wristband. But we also are going to be shipping them with 2 other products, a lanyard string. And it has the lanyard string has a nice little clip, so it can be easily put on. And it fits over the clip. So you got lanyard strings if you want lifeguards to wear them around your neck, or anyone to wear them around your neck, or a wristband. So this is where they would wear it directly on their wrist. Again, the accessibility to a panic button, depending on the use case, you want to make it really accessible, right? So we're going to deliver 4 buttons with each standard package everyone's purchased. Some of you have purchased extra wearable packages or extra base station packages, but a standard package comes with 4 buttons, 4 of each of the accessories, a charging station. You're going to want to charge them every night. And what else? And then it comes with 5 PunchAlert licenses, and it comes with full covered maintenance for the first year as well. So yeah, so first thing we're going to want to do is make sure, and we're providing guides for all these things. So we're going to be providing all those user guides for each person. So the different users of our system, if you think about it, you've got the lifeguard, which they need to know what they can do. You've got your kind of hardware person needs to set that up to install the base station on the wall in the proper place and make sure it's working. And you've got kind of your system administrator that is just kind of overseeing this rescue dashboard. And I'll walk you through that now. And then you also have obviously the same people PunchAlert has, which are, if there's an emergency, who's going to manage that emergency? Well, those are the people that are going to need PunchAlert licenses that are going to chat and do everything we do with PunchAlert. I'm not going to go over PunchAlert today because we do those webinars all the time, but those are your kind of internal responders. They may only get involved after an emergency begins, but you also want a system admin to just be aware of how this rescue system works. And maybe that's the same person that installed it, maybe not. But then obviously there's the lifeguard. So we're providing user guides for each of these personas, each of these people that are going to be interacting with our system and maintaining it. All right, so when we deliver it, you get all these components, you do install it. We're going to provide guidance on where you should install it, but usually the higher the better on a wall near the pool area. And ideally you're getting 1 of these per pool. So when you get it, we're going to pre-provision it for you. So when you log into your rescue dashboard and you go to devices, oops, I'm logged out. Let me log back in. All right, so this is a rescue dashboard. So when you log in and you go to devices, you'll see whatever, and you'll be able to rename them and so on. But I've got 2 base stations set up my account. This is the one that's online right now. I haven't named it yet, but let's go to that one. And so for this product, for this rescue base station, oops, let me go back. Okay, yep, this is the one that's online. Okay, notice there is 1 wearable online right now, and that is this one. And oops, I don't know why it keeps refreshing to that. Oops. Make sure it should be online. Okay, I'm not sure why that isn't online right now. Okay, again, the software is in development. All the hardware is finalized, but for some reason, we're still seeing, there it is. There's a wearable online. And you can see the most recent alerts from it. Let's go to logs. It's easier to show you from the logs. So if I go to my wearable heartbeat, you can see that this device is pushing out a heartbeat every few seconds or so, every 10, 15 seconds or so, depending on movement and activity, whether it's charging, whether it's not charging, the signal strength. So the key thing about this is you want to know if a button goes out of range. We're going to be providing notifications for that. You want to know if the button's battery is getting low as well, because we found that ever since the beginning of PunchAlert, customers have wanted reliable panic buttons. And there aren't many that are mobile that are really reliable in that way. So as a panic button that you can trust, that's why you need this heartbeat going all day long. And as a result of having a heartbeat going all day long, notice the movement. That's just that allows us to keep track that it is online, that it is going to be reliable. If the battery is low, you'll need to charge it. That's why it's a rechargeable. For those of you that have used safety turtles in the past, they didn't provide that service. They didn't have a button either, but they didn't provide the service of kind of a regular heartbeat. So you didn't really know they were going to work. You had to test them. The whole idea with our product is we need you to know that it's online all the time. So that's what the heartbeat does. Let's go back to the logs. The base station's producing a heartbeat too. That's just basically saying, yep, the base station's online, and that's producing a heartbeat every 30 seconds. But of course, it transmits other information when there are events or alerts. So you've got your button press alerts, right, whenever these are occurring. So obviously that's your standard button press. You can see it turning red. I've got the sound deactivated at the moment. And then you notice there's that button event at 11:25. Now that'll activate an emergency in your system, and then people get notified through PunchAlert. So that's the button press alert. Now, if I go to logs again, you've got your wet alert as well. I'll let it reset. It takes a. One thing you'll notice, by the way, is, and we're still configuring this software, but it resets from white to red. I'm sorry, from red to white now automatically. During an actual emergency in production, it's not going to do that until you go into PunchAlert and resolve the incident. Once you resolve it in PunchAlert, it'll go back to white. But the noise, which is very loud, will automatically go off after 15 seconds. And we're thinking about making that adjustable by the customer. But for now, 15 seconds. And actually, there's a button on the rescue station right there on the right. So if it's, if it's a false alarm and you don't want to wait 15 seconds, you can press the button and it'll make the sound go off earlier. Okay, so yeah, but for now it's just kind of resetting. So you saw the button press, and obviously water turns it blue. You can see it activated blue. And so it's still, that would create a wet alert, which you can see here. There's our most recent wet alert at 11:26. And again, that will activate an emergency. Now we also have something called a drop alert. If I go to drop alerts for a second, this is pretty interesting, I think. You'll notice it's refreshing right now. Let me let it reset back to white. Just give it a few moments, and the button just not move for a little bit. Notice the fall probabilities move back down to 0. What we're doing with the drop alert is actually a backup event for the water sensor. So the water sensor activated, and that's why it turned blue. But the, put back here. But in the event that for whatever reason, the water sensor does not capture fast enough, and let's say someone gets really deep really fast and it loses signal. Well, we've got a backup mechanism to make sure we always capture an emergency, that we don't miss anything. And we're using the accelerometer for that. So that's what these numbers are. It's constantly capturing what is the fall probability. And it generally stops after, okay, now it's white again. It stops once it gets back to 0. So notice it was actually looking every second at the fall probability, because once it goes above 20%, normally it's producing a heartbeat every 15 seconds or so. But when the accelerometer activates, it thinks there's a fall with above a 20% probability, it continues to check for the next 30 seconds and slowly lowers the fall probability. As long as it makes it below 5%, there's no emergency. But if it doesn't make it below 5%, we activate an emergency, because the only thing we can deduce is that someone got deep into the water, maybe the water sensor missed it, or just didn't get the signal out of the water in time, and therefore they fell. We captured that even before they made it in the water, but then we lost signal. So that the only thing we can deduce there is that they're in the water. We would have known if they were out of range, because the signal strength would have been much weaker. So that's what the algorithm is. That's actually what we've patented. And that's the way we can get our ability to capture events up from the 90% area up to, close to 100%. And so you can see this has stopped sending data. If I take the button and I throw it in the air, you'll notice it's blinking red, and all of a sudden the fall probability went immediately to 20, all the way up to 75%, right? So it basically, was in free fall for a brief period of time there. And now, instead of sending a signal, notice it's blinking yellow, instead of sending a signal every 15 seconds, it's actually sending a signal every second, like multiple times a second, as you can see. And the fall probability is slowly going down, and it's going to continue to broadcast until that fall probability gets down to 5%. Notice now it's 17. I just put it in the charger. It's at 8. Now it's back down to 0. So now it'll stop pushing out a signal every 15 seconds. It'll go back to, stop pushing out a signal every second, go back to every 15 seconds. And the base station will reset back to white. Now in production, you're not going to see the yellow and the blinking for all the movement stuff. That's going to be happening throughout the day, but those are not going to be causing emergencies. But I want you to be aware of this data because it's in the logs. Now when it does actually cause an emergency from a drop event, you'll see that separately as what we call a fall alert. And so these are only emergencies. So these will actually cause emergencies. Notice I haven't had one. These are hard to replicate without having a real pool. And even then, the water sensor is so good at capturing emergencies, it's very hard to create a fall alert. You have to kind of trick it. You got to really get deep fast. You got to drop fast and get it to lose signal. So it's possible, but usually the water alert beats it to it. But this is our backup mechanism, and so yeah, that's I think going to be a critical part of the reliability of our platform. So those are all the alerts. Again, we're not actually creating PunchAlert emergencies today, but those are the logs. You can see the system is pretty straightforward. You're going to provide it to lifeguards. We'll provide manuals for what they need to do. If they need to do a save, they need to just do the save and not change their behavior at all. They'll be in the water. It'll activate an emergency. It'll notify your team. It'll set the category. And then people can use PunchAlert to call 911 or just communicate with each other, resolve the incident as quickly as possible. If a lifeguard does not need to go in the water, they should hit the button. And either way, it's just creating that whole mechanism. Now, obviously, the other benefit of this system is it protects the lifeguard. So we want to help them get help to save your members, but also in the event they're alone, and this all got inspired by the Charlotte YMCA, which is a great customer of ours at PunchAlert. And in 2017, they had a terrible event where a lifeguard had a seizure early one morning, fell in and drowned. And it was that moment, we learned about that later in the year, about what exactly happened. We realized and learned how lifeguards are often by themselves. It's early in the morning, it's late at night. Lifeguards have seizures, as many, as is very common. So we have to protect them too. If a lifeguard's in the water for whatever reason, that's an emergency. And so hopefully this will protect that type of incident in the future. And that's why we're excited about delivering this product. Finally, after 3 years, we're delivering this product later this month and throughout the month of February and March, probably to get all batch 1 delivered. Will probably take through the beginning of March, but starting the end of this month. Any new customers that order today, we'll get you at the front of batch 2, which we're anticipating will be shortly thereafter. So hopefully by April or so. but we're putting together that whole batch order next. But we're really excited to get batch 1 in the hands of customers within the next 30 days. All right, 30 minutes. I think we've covered just about everything. Does anyone have any questions? If you do, just chime in. Thanks for everyone staying with me, hanging in. Sentry to help you open safe. And then again, if you have water, I think it's a no-brainer. You know, give us a call to at least talk about it. If you don't have water, but you think you could use a reliable panic button system, you know, something to think about as well for keeping people safe. Obviously, PunchAlert leverages the smartphone. If you think the smartphone is enough in terms of reporting emergencies for all your people, that's fine. But if you have certain folks, front desk, if you have certain people that are maybe in a higher risk situation that need a panic button, you might want to get a system like this. Again, it's creating a standalone network, so it's not using up your Wi-Fi, it's not using cellular, and it's fully monitored all the time, as you can see from this dashboard. So I think that's all we have for today. And again, thank you for your time. I'll just give it one more minute for anyone else having questions. All right. All right. Hopefully that was all super simple and clear. Have a great day, everyone. Appreciate it.